Welcome, switchers, to my Gancho, I think that's how you pronounce it, review. And while we're at it, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button for all my latest content. And I have to say thank you one and all for helping me reach such a heights of 1,000 subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let us kick off with the story, shall we? With your home world invaded and the rest of your fellow Cocos, yeah, I know, being kidnapped and... Alright, this one's a weird one. Just read this and let's just be done with the story, shall we? Look, basically you have to rescue all your fellow Cocos, and I'm still not comfortable with that name. But as far as storylines go, well, I suppose it is a story. Okay, and moving on. The main hook of this game is your hook, really. You also get a handy jump button, and you can run around avoiding all the alien life. Some that jump, some that travel on the ground, and some that even shoot stuffs. And there's even turrets out there, as well as, well, badass laser beams. As for the levels, well, they're set out in like big procedure-generated arenas, so they never, well, are the same-ish. But I have to admit, as I played on, some did feel kind of samey to me. Add to which, all over these levels, you can find food and ammo to, well, add more ammo and replenish your health with. And when I say this is all over the level, usually, well, literally is all over the levels. You normally start low down, and most levels have platforms on them. And with some of these platforms you can run, jump onto and cling to, so that you can pull yourself up on them. But the majority of them are way over the height that you can actually jump and scurry up them. And so, hooray, we come to the hook. The hook. In fact, it's a laser hook, in case you really wondered, and you have the ability to whip it out, fanar, in any kind of given direction, using the shoulder button and the thumbstick for, well, direction. Grapple onto ledges and use them to get to other ledges. And I have to admit that this really felt a little off to me and took a while for me to get really into it. The main problem was you couldn't pull yourself up to a ledge fully, and instead of the game letting you pick how much length you actually want to use so that you can start swinging about, well, it doesn't, it just pulls you straight up, leaving you a small window to really get your swing on. And I felt this a real shame, as when this worked and you got your rhythm, it was really, really good. But too often it felt way too frustrating and clumsy. Anywho, your fellow Cocos, still not entirely comfortable with that name, will be somewhere placed around the actual level. And once you have them all, it's straight to the next level, using this handy little map to kind of get there. I'd say map, it's not really, is it? I don't know. So, as you progress through said map, you will at some points end up on a power-up level, which gives you a choice of a few power-ups, and once you've picked one, you leave. And like a lot of things in this game, there are some useful ones and some I haven't got a clue what the hell they do. Did I mention there are bosses? No? Well, there are. In fact, this game boasts 6 of them. Not that I've actually reached all of them, I have to say. And I have to also say they're not completely obvious how to actually defeat them when you get to them. And then, adding to that, it can be kind of difficult whenever the actual controls decide that they hate you. At times, the levels can actually feel rather unfair, giving you a one-way up, but putting turrets and creatures in the way. So when you actually go to laser in that direction, you kind of like get hit by several things at once. and you end up losing most of your life force before you even get to the Cocos that you need to rescue, or even anywhere near the Cocos that you need to rescue. I know this is a fault of probably it being procedure generated, but it did annoy a lot at times. Although I have to say that one little, neat thing about the game was the fact that you can unlock new Cocos to use, and this did actually make the game more playable, as some had double jumps and some just literally jumped higher than all the rest of them, and this really did help gameplay. And the other thing that helped immensely was the fact that the wake of the whip or hook can be used to actually kill the creatures. So when you swing above them, there's this like wake that sort of like pushes down and destroys anything in its path. And yeah, I would advise learning how to use this to your advantage early on, as I didn't even know that it did that for the first few games. And lastly, let me mention that there are some extra bits in the form of challenges. And yes, these are challenging and great as a distraction when the main game gets too much for you. And this is kind of nice to go to time from time, because it kind of like gives you a almost structured feeling to the game. And yeah, that kind of just really helps now and again, just to play something a little bit more structured and put together that you can just go and play. As for them looks, well, El Gancho has that retro looking vibe that only on close inspection you can see some small details that's been put into the game, like the main character models. But sadly, procedure generated or not, it all kind of looks the same after a few plays. As for the sound, they're kind of almost generic. It's what you expect from this sort of game, but that music is great and I did enjoy it. Well, up until I realised that it's just on a loop and it just keeps going over and over and over and over again, to such an extent that you either stop noticing it after a while completely, or it just starts to annoy you. The good. Some nice touches, like power-ups, extra characters with different uses. The music was decent, up to a point. Challenges felt like, a good idea and something they did not have to really put into the game, but they did. The bad. Music looped over and over again, controlled fiddly, and I felt there was a better way of doing them. Laser hook really had a missed opportunity there. The score. A strange game at first, turning into a fun, then rather samey, but ultimately enough to like in small bursts, alongside the challenges, which really did add something to it. I'm going to give El Gancho a 3 out of 5. A average game, but it felt like it could have been so much more better. And if you have any thoughts on El Gancho, leave them down in the comments. That is, after all, where they belong. And as for my alternative, well, I'm definitely going to be going for Puken Bye Bye. And yeah, I know it's not a complete comparison, but at the end of the day, it was a quite good fun and hard as nails platformer that had a few surprises up its sleeve. And yeah, it's definitely worth picking up after you played El Gancho. And so, as usual, if you've got a better alternative, well, leave it down in the comments. Why not hit that like and subscribe button for more content, and come and see us in our community Discord. Come for a chat. We're all friendly people, because life is better when we switch together.